Welcome, everybody. My name is Bud Wassell. So glad you could be here for the first week of Relax, Focus, De-Stress, and Connect. Each week we'll do a little different theme. So today is all about relaxing. Let's see, I'm going to mute everybody, but you'll be able to come off. And while I'm doing that, I'll say, please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions or after we do a couple of practices, because this is try to make this a little experiential. So I'll ask for a little bit of feedback on what did you think of the practice? So feel free to use the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can do that as well. As I mentioned, I am recording this so that I can send out the recording link to others who can't make it. But also, if you want to review it later, or I'll also make the slides available because there's a lot of good information in the slides. There's my contact info, and you can feel free to reach out to me. There's info also on our Employee and Family Resources Program, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So again, welcome and glad you could be here. And we're going to start with this. So how relaxed are you? Just kind of asking yourself first, maybe at work, do you get a chance to relax at work? Sometimes, depending on your job and your schedule, maybe you do. Maybe you get some regular breaks. Maybe you get a way to even relax while you're working. We have a lot of different work situations now. So are you relaxed at home? When you finally get home, or some of us have very, very busy home lives and it's not relaxing at all there. So obviously the worst combination is if you've got busy lives 24/7 and you don't have time to relax at all. So hopefully I can show you a few ways where you can do some simple things to find little relaxation breaks during the day. And then there's playtime, right? What do you do for playtime? What do you do to kind of relax yourself, whether that's, watching TV or doing a sport or an exercise or some sort of formal relaxation exercise, or you kind of get into the flow, whatever it is, just checking in with yourself. How relaxed do you get when you do those things? And you might want to zero in on a particular area. Maybe you need to learn to relax more at work versus at home, or vice versa. So where do you feel most relaxed? And that might be out in nature, or might be finally at the end of the day when the kids are in bed, or whatever when all your responsibilities for the day are done. Where and when do you feel most relaxed? And how do you know you're relaxed? What are some of the cues that your mind and your body gives you to know that you're finally feeling relaxed? And I think that's part of what we're going to talk a little about today. But that's important, that whole idea of being self-aware. What are the things that you know in your body? Perhaps, feeling relaxed in the shoulders or the chest or something like that. Or how do you know you're relaxed in the mind? Maybe the mind begins to calm down a little bit and you feel a bit more relaxed. So let's do a quick kind of quiz. How relaxed are you right now? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. So that's that cat there as 1 is supposed to be kind of fight or flight. So very tense, okay? And 5, obviously, the cat is very relaxed. So I'm going to try a poll. I haven't done this, so I'm going to see if I can get this to work. So let's see if we can try this poll. So I put this up here. Let me get this going. Oops, launch it. And hopefully you see that. Do you see the poll come up for you? Should be there. And if you could just put in, yep, some folks are putting in their answers. So I'll leave it open for a few seconds longer. You can see the distribution. I'll share the results when we're done. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. Looks like everybody's had a chance to 23 out of 23. Excellent. Thank you for that. Share the results. So what I'm seeing is a fair amount, 17% very tense, 26% somewhat tense, a large group in the middle there, which you might kind of respect. So a little bit relaxed, a little bit tense. And that's kind of, I think, where a lot of people fall during the workday, especially for somewhat relaxed, And then a few of you, well, one of you, very relaxed. That's great. So let's move on. We'll do this at the end as well. And that'll be kind of interesting to see after we do a few exercises how you feel. And you might try to see which ones work best for you. I'm going to give you a sampling of a bunch of different quick and easy exercises that you can try. All right, so let's move on. So the first thing, if you've been in my classes before, you've heard me talk about pausing and taking purposeful pauses in your day. Even if you have a really, really busy day, you can always find even 30 seconds or a minute. Best if you can get maybe, well, even if it's only a minute, to sprinkle a few of those in throughout your day. Or if you can find a little bit of a longer time, 3 to 5 minutes, that can be very helpful. 5 to 10 minutes, I think, can be very relaxing. But it's what you do in those pauses, how you take care of yourself. And I think we do take some pauses. Sometimes we do some things that aren't so relaxing. So part of it is to be aware of what you do when you take a break or a pause so that you intentionally are taking some time to focus on relaxing the mind and the body. And if you're not doing that, maybe you're doing something, just to give an example, maybe you're calling home and talking to the kids or a partner or something, and there's something kind of stressful going on. That raises the tension level. So, we have to do those things. That's part of our responsibilities. But at the same time, what can you do to find a way to relax in some of these pauses and breaks that you might have? And if you don't have any, you need to find a way to put them into your day. So here are a few that I always recommend. Deep breathing. We're going to try several deep breathing kinds of practices, but a very simple technique is as you breathe in, fill the lungs, and then as you breathe out, make sure that out breath is longer than the in breath. That stimulates the relaxation response in the body. So that's rule number one. Out breath needs to be long and slow, longer than the in breath, okay? Another tip is you can breathe out through the mouth, like as a sigh as you breathe out, or you can breathe out like you're blowing through a straw. Those also stimulate that relaxation response. The second one is savor, to kind of focus on things that are positive. So often, I think when we're really busy, we don't take the time to do this. There might be a positive event that happens, but we don't really take time to savor it. So this, all I really mean is to take, even the research shows 20 to 30 seconds. That's all it really takes to marinate with that experience, can help to sort of ingrain it or install the software in your brain. So 20 to 30 seconds, a minute if you've got it, to savor a positive experience can really make a difference. We are fighting the negativity bias, by the way, and if you've been in my classes before, I talk a bit about that. So savoring is a positive experience that can turn the needle from the negative bias over to the positive side. Everyday mindful awareness simply means paying attention to what you're doing while you're doing it. So instead of letting the mind run on autopilot when you're washing your hands, for example, pay attention to the simple act of washing your hands. When you do this, it takes that busy mind offline. And when your mind is busy and full of, the to-dos and the clutter and all that kind of stuff, it tends to wander to the negative kinds of stresses and concerns of the day. When you take time to just focus on washing your hands or whatever that routine activity is, you are giving your mind a break, and that can make a difference too. And then that last category is sort of a catch-all. You probably do some things, so identify the things that you already do. Maybe you listen to some music, or you do some exercising or walking or whatever it might be during the day. Intentionally do those things and pay attention to the point where you really begin to feel that relaxation coming. Where do you feel it in the body? How do you notice it in the mind? And maybe develop a couple of new different techniques. Okay, so those are the things that we kind of automatically do for ourselves. Now, there are lots of different kinds of breathing. As I mentioned, deeper breathing. So the 4-6-8 is, and you can do, why don't you try this with me as I'm talking about it? So breathe into the count of 4. You can count to yourself. Hold for 6. So holding the breath for up to 6 beats. And then out to 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see that's a really long out breath. Now, if you can't do quite that count, that's fine. Do whatever is comfortable for you. But the point is, breathe in, pretty full in breath, hold it for a few seconds or so, and then again, a long, slow out breath, emptying all the air out. Another quick, easy technique to add to that, if you're still doing it, as you breathe out, relax the shoulders, relax the muscles in the face and the jaw. That can really help to relax too. Okay, then there's box breathing, and all it really is the Navy SEALs use this, and it's been studied actually. It's a very effective technique. So 4 counts in, so breathe into 4, hold for 4, 3, 4, out to 4, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4 again, 2, 3, 4, into 4, and you just repeat that. So do that a couple more cycles, counting to yourself. You can close your eyes if that helps, but you don't have to. And just notice how that feels when you do that. Maybe this is one that you might like to try going forward. They also studied what's called cyclic sign, and this was found to be actually the most effective in the study that they did. And it's a 2-part in breath. So you breathe in halfway, you feel the breath down to your belly. And then you breathe all the way in, filling the air, fill your lungs. You hold it, and then breathe out with a sigh, with an open mouth. So it's like this. You can do this with me as well. Halfway in, fill the belly, all the way in, fill the lungs, hold, and breathe out. Open mouth with a sigh, and sigh out all that tension. Long out breath. Do that a couple more times. I find this one very, very helpful for calming me down. It works, on the go, like if you're agitated in traffic, any one of these will really. It also works if you're trying to get back to sleep, or again, try some of these other ones, but that one's very effective. And it does help to stay focused on the breath, because sometimes our minds are so busy, and we'll get more into that later, but sometimes the mind really distracts us. So to stay focused on the breath, you might use simple noting. So as you're breathing in, say to yourself in, as you're breathing out, out, and that helps us. We're going to talk a lot more about that next week in the focus class. And then another way to do that is to use words that kind of help you relax. So calm on the in breath, ease on the out breath, or whatever words you choose can be very helpful to kind of give us that mental image or mantra that can help us stay focused on the breath, but also give us the message to relax. Now, this one's kind of interesting. I'm going to do this with you and give you a little bit of instruction. It's not that difficult. Alternate nostril breathing. And this is there's 2 types. One is the lunar breathing, one is the solar breathing. The solar breathing is to give yourself a little more energy, to lift yourself up. The lunar practice is the one we're going to do now, and that's to relax us. So what you do is you lift your right hand and you block your right nostril. Okay. And what you do, you can block it with your finger or your thumb. Try it with your thumb, because then what we're going to do is we're going to block the other one as well. So try it right, block your right nostril with your right thumb. And as you're ready, take a long breath in through, so it's all coming in through the left nostril. At the top, hold both for a couple of seconds, so you're pausing. And then you let the air out through the right nostril. Kind of hard to do when I'm talking here, but try that again. So hold the right nostril closed, breathe in through the left, hold both, breathe out through the right. Just do that at a comfortable pace. Don't worry about counting. So in through the left, hold, out through the right. Keep doing that a few more times. One more time, okay? Now, just again, notice how that feels. I'm feeling pretty relaxed myself, but for yourself, just check in with yourself. I've given you a bunch to try. Did one work better than another, or did they all work? So maybe you want to try some of these throughout the day when you're feeling the need to relax a little bit. The solar breathing is simply just the opposite. You start with the left nostril closed, you breathe in through the right, and breathe out through the left. So it's different. It stimulates different parts of the brain. And the lunar breathing, one we did, helps bring on that parasympathetic response of the inner part of the brain, the limbic system, and that helps us to relax. So you might want to try that one. So the idea here is, with this quote, to experience peace does not mean your life is always blissful, but it means that you're capable of tapping into a blissful state of mind amidst the normal chaos of a hectic life. In other words, if you keep trying this, in other words, practicing this, you're going to train the body and the mind, because they're really linked, of course, to relax upon command. And that's what we need. Even when it's really crazy and hectic in our lives, the more we train ourselves to do this, the easier it's going to be, and the more you can do this on command or on demand, whatever the right word is. Okay, so practice. It takes a little bit of practice, not a lot, really, it doesn't, but pick one or two of these breathing techniques, give them a try, and see how it helps to do this for yourself. All right, now, of course, you can do stretching. There's lots of simple, easy stretches, and I put this up sort of as a humorous way to kind of illustrate just simple cat stretches. So doing whatever is helpful to just stretch out your back, or just whatever where you feel a tension. Do this really nice and slow, paying attention to the feeling of the stretch itself, whether it's raising up the crown of your head, maybe stretching out and lengthening your spine. Might do a couple of head rolls, and please feel free to do these with me now. You might do a couple of shoulder rolls. You might pay attention to where you're really feeling tension in the body. A lot of us do hold tension in the shoulders. That's why I usually might bring the shoulders up towards the ears and hold it, and then bring it down. That can help to release that tension, right? And help us to relax a little bit. So whatever might be helpful, whatever part of the body you need to stretch out. A lot of us, if you're working on the computer a lot and you're sitting a lot, we need to stand up and stretch. We need to stretch out our hands. So you might do some hand stretches, arm stretches. You might need to lean back because we're hunched over the keyboard. You might need to lean back, stretch out that way. Might need to do some walking, some exercise, whatever it might be that is helpful. Again, do it slowly. you don't want to hurt yourself, so pay attention if you have some pain spots or discomfort in the body. Be very careful. So slowly, mindfully pay attention to what it feels like, especially when you release that stretch. What does it feel like then? Okay, so that's another technique. Now, you might have heard about progressive muscle relaxation, and this is really, really relaxing, and it can help us to fall asleep also. We won't do, basically you do the whole body. We're just going to do a couple of parts of the body. So let's start with the hands. So what you do is you take your hands and you clench them and you make tight fists for about 4 or 5 seconds. Hold it and hold it. Feel that tension, and then you release it. Okay, do that again. Clench tight fists, hold, and release. Now you can do that with your arms, like both upper arms and lower arms. Try to isolate those if you can. Hold it for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then release. Same thing with the shoulders. You can tense around the shoulders and release. You could do these 2 times for each muscle group, but I'm kind of going through this more quickly since we're covering a lot of ground. You might move up to the neck and the jaw, tensing that. You might clench your teeth. Release. You do around the eyes and the brow, closing, maybe clenching them up. I know it looks kind of funny, but who cares? And release. Now, if you do that through the whole body, your whole body's going to obviously be pretty relaxed, and that's the progressive part of it. So you could start at the fists like we did, but you could start at the feet, you could start at the top of the head, and you just move out through the different muscle groups systematically, tensing and relaxing. And you could do 1 or 2 times per muscle group, whatever you have time for. And again, now, before we move on, just notice, what was that like to try? How did that feel for you? Now, body scan, we're getting into a little bit more of the mindfulness approaches, and we are going to do a mindfulness exercise, which I'll try to incorporate a couple of these different things into it. But a body scan, we'll do a really quick body scan, okay? What I'd like you to do, and this could be done sitting, standing, or laying down. I'm assuming most of you are sitting, but maybe not. So if you're sitting, just find a very, very comfortable position. Let yourself relax in the chair, got a backrest, and just let the body relax for a moment. Take a couple of deep breaths just to help relax. And then let's start at the top of our head, and you can close your eyes for this if that feels okay. If not, you can keep them slightly open. And just put your attention at the top of your head and just sort of imagine sort of a wave of relaxation with your attention flowing down through the face, all the way down into the forehead, around the nose and the mouth, letting everything relax as we go, but scanning through part by part down into the neck, and the shoulders, down to the arms and hands, down through the torso, bringing your attention. This is kind of fast, but if you did this slower, just bring your attention to each part, feeling the chest and the belly and the back, from the upper back down to the lower back. So we're coming down into the lower torso, the hips and the pelvic area, scanning down into the legs, the length and volume of the thighs and the knees and the lower legs, ankles, down to your feet, feeling into your feet. As you go, you just might notice and be aware of different sensations. There's all kinds of body sensations when we pay attention, and that's what we're doing with the body scan, is we're really paying attention to different parts of the body. Now, again, that can be a lot longer. These can last anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. You can do some internal scanning. You can notice what's inside the body, the feelings that you have, the heart pumping and the lungs breathing and the inside of the shoulders, for example. So you're really bringing mindful attention to different parts of the body. And what this allows us to do is get out of the head and bring our attention deliberately into the body, right? And it's the head that causes us the trouble. It's the mind that, gives us a lot of worry and concern. And we'll talk a lot more about this, that part of it in session 3, which is the stress part of the class. So that's a body scan. Partly what we're doing here is we're anchoring ourselves. We're anchoring our attention because, let's face it, our attention is scattered most of the day. Anytime I ask people about multitasking, pretty much 99% of the people do it. And when you multitask, your brain is toggling back and forth between different focuses. And we'll, again, talk more about this in week 2 of the focus thing. But the problem with that is it drains the energy reserves in the brain. And so anytime we anchor ourselves in the body, just like we did, or even a simple anchoring technique could be feeling the breath and using that, keep bringing your attention back to the breath. Or another one is feeling your feet on the ground. Just take a moment and feel the contact your feet make with the ground. Feel that sense of touch and connection. Feel the lower part of your body seated. Feel your sit bones. Feel your pelvic area and your hips and the lower back just anchoring you to the chair. That's anchoring, and that you can do that really quickly. You can do that when you're standing in line at the grocery store, when you get in that long line and you're waiting impatiently. Anchor yourself. Or you're in slow traffic and again you're getting annoyed with the traffic. Anchor yourself. Feel your feet, your hands on the steering wheel, your feet on the floor or the gas pedal, your body in the chair. Anchoring, that's all it really is, grounding yourself. Great way to kind of recenter. Now here's another really good technique called just finding a peaceful place. And so if you think of a place right now, what's a peaceful place that you know of? Very often it might be out in nature, but it might be inside in a hot tub or in front of a fireplace, or maybe you just have a nice peaceful place at home. Or you can totally imagine it. All right, so kind of bring that to mind and just immerse yourself in that place. Now, it does usually help to close your eyes with this. Again, this is a bit of a shortened version. Close your eyes, imagine yourself in that place, and just use your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Sense of touch. What do you smell? What do you taste? And just take a moment to immerse yourself, to savor it, to really feel yourself in this place. And allow yourself to relax. You got nothing to do in this place, nowhere to go, no emails, no texts, nothing. Just relax, be at peace in this peaceful place. And again, that's another way that you can do that. You can also use a peaceful person that you know that you could be with. It could be a peaceful sound or song. Music can be very helpful. There's lots of different peaceful things that we can use. People, places, and things that we can use to find that peace, to relax. Now, these are just some images. Some places are more peaceful to us than others. Kind of go back slowly. So a lot of people like sunsets, sunrises. Not everybody, but being out in the woods, nice beautiful path, mountains, the fields, lavender fields. whatever it is, you can use photos, you can use videos. There's lots of different media that we have at our fingertips that we can use. And in fact, this one is something, this link here is a brief nature video. So even studies show very clearly that connecting with nature and being out in nature, or even viewing nature on a screen, can be very, very relaxing. And the link that I have here, when you get the slides, links into my YouTube place where I post all this stuff. And I've got about, I don't know, maybe 30 different pretty short nature videos, like 2-3 minute, even some 1 minute videos. And even just doing that as a quick break can be very helpful. All right, so I'm going to pause here and just see any questions we still have. I'm going to try to finish this by 10 of, and we still got there's a nice practice that I'd like to do, but just want to check in. How are you doing? Any questions? You can either use the chat, or you can come off mute or raise your hand, but just checking in. How you doing? Any questions or comments so far?
It has helped, I have to say.
What was
I
that?
think it's just a time. It has helped
It is.
with doing these exercises right now with you. It has helped. And I
Mhm.
think it's just to combine it with a little bit of time, and like you said, even 30 seconds to a minute, it does make a difference.
It's deliberately finding that time and doing it rather than doing all the other stuff. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard, I know, and that's the practice. And all the classes that I've given, that's the biggest challenge that people have, is finding the time to put it into your busy day. So here's a couple of other comments, like the cyclic sign, very relaxing, very helpful exercises. Thank you for saying that. Very good. All right, so yeah, that's I think the biggest part of the lesson is maybe even look at your calendar. Do you have a couple of minutes between meetings or between tasks or when you take a break? I'll talk a little bit in a minute or two about taking breaks and trying to deliberately, when you take a break, maybe it's a coffee or tea break. What do you do during that break to do something that's relaxing rather than maybe something that might be a little bit stressful? See a couple more comments here. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. Very good. All right, so let's move on. All right, here's the so taking a stress break for yourself. What I'd like to do right now is an exercise. It could be considered a mindfulness meditation, but we're going to do some deliberate breathing in the exercise. And this is going to take a little bit longer than the ones that we did so far. So maybe, let's see, yeah, we should have time for a good maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes. Okay. So the first step is to find a very comfortable position, however is best for your body. Okay. And take a minute to adjust. You might even, if you're feeling tension in a particular part of the body before we settle into stillness, you might stretch out that part of the body. So feel free to do that on your own. Stretch it a little bit. Then settle in, let the body settle. Pay attention to your posture. Make sure that you're in a nice, relaxed position, but also one where you can keep paying attention and be alert. I don't really want you to fall asleep here. So if you do, that's okay, but that's not the point of it. The point is relaxing so that you feel relaxed. Maybe you do need a nap, so that's fine too. But relaxing, and you can let the eyes close. But if you feel like you might fall asleep, you might keep them slightly open so you have a downward gaze in front of you. Either way, whatever you're most comfortable with. Okay. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the chair beneath you. So kind of get into that feeling of being anchored and grounded. And see if you can let those sensations of pressure and contact begin to steady your attention in the present moment. Now set an intention to put aside any unnecessary thoughts regarding plans, agendas, or projects. Put those to the side, okay? They'll still be there when we're done. This time is like a gift to yourself. Everything else can wait until later. For right now, all you have to do is relax and be right here. So in your own time, begin to notice the rhythm of your breathing, okay? Just feel the gentle rhythm in and out. Just be aware of the process of breathing in a general way. And you don't have to work on this, the breath happens all by itself, right? So see if you can begin to settle back and relax into that natural flow of breathing. The pace and demands of life can build up tension and stress in the mind and the body. And we can use the breath to release that tension, releasing any stress that's accumulated. So to explore this, begin to deepen your breathing just a bit, taking a slightly longer in-breath. At the top of the inhale, pause and hold, and then let your breath out in a long, thin, slow stream of air. At the bottom of the exhale, hold your breath for a moment, and then do that again. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, kind of like you're blowing through a straw. Do that another time or two. Now we could do like the cyclic sign if you want to try that. So that's 2-part in breath, remember. So breathe in. You might put your hands on your belly, breathe in, feel the belly expand. Breathe in, feel the chest expand. Pause, and then breathe out with a sigh. Do that again. In halfway, all the way. And just notice the effect of doing these kinds of breathing has on your relaxation level. Now, let's begin to use the breath to begin to release any tension or tightness in the body. So we're going to use our awareness to direct the energy of the breath to those places. Okay, got a comment here. I'll address this when we're done. So let's direct the energy of the breath to a place that might be a little tense or tight. So maybe you notice some tightness in the face or the forehead, around the eyes, or the mouth, or the jaw. So as you breathe in, imagine the energy of the breath flowing to those places in your face. And as you breathe out, imagine any tension draining out with the breath. Okay, so breathing in, you're kind of bringing in the fresh energy of the in-breath. And then as you breathe out, it kind of helps to dissolve and drain out that tension from the face. Now, you can do this with any part of the body where you might feel some tension. The idea is that we're deliberately breathing out the tension and letting it drain out of the body. I'm going to do one more thing based on a comment here, just to kind of help maybe. So you might notice thoughts firing off, and maybe there's a stressful thought that interrupts all of this. That's okay. Don't try to make it go away. Thoughts are going to come and go, and we're going to spend a lot more time on this in a future class. But let's say you notice a thought that is a little bit stressful, or something that's going on in your life that's stressful. So just notice that thought, okay? Now you have two choices here. One choice is to let go of the thought and bring your attention back to the breath or the body, continuing to use the breath to relax you. That's one way to deal with that. So you notice the thought, you kind of touch it, you acknowledge it, then come back to the breath. Continue to breathe and relax yourself. The second way to deal with it is to notice what that thought is bringing up. Maybe it is a worry thought. Maybe it's something, oh, I remember I've got to do something later. It kind of, adds on to your overall to-do list. Explore that a little bit. Explore that thought, Now, here's the trick. The trick is not to get caught up into the thinking itself, to realize that during the exercise, we don't have to fix anything. We don't have to engage with the thought. We're just observing and noticing the thought. So you might even say to yourself, oh, there's a worry thought. Oh, there's something that's something stressful. Now, you're not saying to yourself, I'm stressed. You're not saying to yourself, I'm worried. You're giving yourself a little bit of a distance, and you're saying, oh, there's a worry thought. There's a stress thought. Okay. And so you kind of get a little bit of distance from it. And you can notice these thoughts come and go. Now, this may not be easy to do in the beginning. Again, it takes some practice. And that's part of, again, what we'll do in a later session. So, but just try to be aware of thoughts without engaging them, without fixing them. And then when you're ready, come back to your anchor. Come back to the breath. Bring your attention back to breathing. You might bring your attention back to an anchor of your feet on the floor. In other words, getting back out of your head into the body. Okay? Now, before we close the exercise, just take a moment to just rest. Do nothing. You don't have to have any kind of focus. Just take a moment to rest and relax. Just be. That's really what it is. We're not doing anything. We're just being in the moment. Okay, and then when you're ready, you can open the eyes. And we'll finish the exercise again. You might want to stretch or move a little bit. You might want to take a moment to kind of transition out of the exercise. And again, if you have some feedback, let me know. Use the chat, or if you want to speak up, either way, up to you. So that comment that I noticed before was, I feel relaxed now, but if I think of something stressful, I feel tense again. Do these techniques have a long-term benefit? So yes, they do, but you have to practice it like anything else. And in session 3, the de-stressing class, we're going to talk quite a bit more about using the thoughts, getting control over our thoughts so that they don't carry us away all the time. And that takes a little practice too. That distancing technique that we kind of tried, that I integrated into that practice. So, okay, any questions or comments or feedback on the exercise? I'm going to move on in the interest of time, but if you do, I'll pay attention to those. So what do you do when you give yourself a break? How do you take a break? What are some of the things that you might try? Oh, good. I love that. Heart rate has decreased. Good to hear it. That's another way to pay attention to what's going on. Your heart rate, your breathing rate, how you feel, the tension release. So here's this, give yourself a break. You can mean that literally and figuratively. So give yourself a break, literally taking a break from the busyness of the day, but also give yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. we're going to address that in the fourth class, self-compassion. So what do you do when you take a break now? A lot of us, I think we tend to multitask and to continue to do. Notice I said at the end of that exercise, what we're doing is we're cultivating this sense of just being. We're not doing, just being. And that's what I want you to try to get into that state during a break. So when you're eating your lunch or having your coffee or tea, just do that for part of it. Most of us do other stuff. Most of us continue to work. That's not really giving yourself a break. So when you're having that cup of tea or coffee, for example, smell it, taste it, spend some time with it, savor it, or having your lunch, at least take part of your lunch break to just eat. And maybe put on some relaxing music, maybe slow down your eating and just really appreciate it. All these kinds of ways are going to help us do that as we move on and do these kinds of practices. Take a walk outside, and when you do that, stop thinking about all the stuff you got to do. Maybe have a good chat with your friend, but again, notice the beauty of the day. We're moving into spring, so it's a beautiful time of year. Notice the breeze on your face, the sun on your face, those kinds of things, okay? Movement can be very helpful in our breaks. So walking, stretching, stairs, working out, all of these kinds of things. Maybe you look at photos or videos or do some things. Be careful with social media, I will say that. Pay attention to what relaxes you and what doesn't relax you, and do more what relaxes you on your breaks and avoid what makes you tense. Okay, so pay attention to your breaks. They're really crucial. And if you're not getting enough breaks, try to find some things to do. So at this point, I'll just say the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. It's kind of what we did in the exercise. It's William James, an early American psychologist. We're learning to choose helpful thoughts over unhelpful thoughts. And again, we'll do more of that in class 3. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. So we really can, if we put our minds to it, excuse the pun, we can learn to focus on those helpful thoughts. We can learn to kind of rein in that monkey mind that's going on and have some control over it. And again, we'll do more of that actually in week 2 and week 3. And the idea, and I know some of you might have seen this, I keep coming back to this cartoon, I love it. When we're on autopilot, our mind is full, like this guy here. Research actually shows this very clearly. When our mind is wandering, we're on autopilot, the stresses and strains, the to-dos, all that stuff clutters our minds. When we try some of these practices, all that sort of dissolves and fades away, and we can be more like the dog. So do you want to be mindful like the dog, or have your mind full like the human on the walk here? Your choice, but that's the point. It's a choice. We have to actively make that choice. All right, so I do want to do this quickly again. I noticed one other chat here. I love that. Great, thank you. Going to bring this, how relaxed are you right now, on a scale. I won't do the poll right now, but rate yourself on that scale again. So remember, 1 is very tense, 5 is very relaxed. Give yourself that rating again. Has it changed? Hopefully it has changed to the better. If not, that's okay. Don't worry. Don't be hard on yourself. If it hasn't changed, that might just mean you need to practice a little bit more. You might need to find the right kinds of things. We covered a lot of ground, very quick little snippets of practices. So you might want to pick just 1 or 2 and try them in a more concentrated way, and that might be very helpful. Okay, good. So you're putting some 4s in there, so that's great. So that's not completely relaxed. Good. So hopefully those are better. Bunch of 4s. That's great to see that. Excellent. Excellent. So you probably don't want to be like 5 at work anyway, right? Otherwise you wouldn't get any work done. And that's kind of the point. we're going to try to get to this point of being relaxed and focused, sort of what I would call relaxed attentiveness, instead of being focused and tense. I think that's what most of us are like at work. So we want to be relaxed and focused. So excellent. Glad to hear you're feeling better, feeling more relaxed. Many of you are. So just want to point out some other resources. This is an app through our EFR program. Again, here's where all the links come in. So if you signed up on LMS, I have the sign up list, and I'm going to send out the slides and the video link to all of you. So you'll have these links. But this is an app you can download. It's free. And on that app, once you get it, there's a couple of different classes just to point out: 7 days of relaxation techniques, 7 days of slowing down in a fast-paced world. So just to give you some more things, this is on that same website. Well, actually not the app itself, but the website, the Carillon Wellbeing. This is the link. This is a screenshot. They have a whole section of relaxation techniques, and this is just one of the rows that they have: 20-minute guided meditation, body relaxation. As you can see, relaxation techniques for stress relief, 7 ways to relax the body. There's a bunch of stuff here. It's very, very full of great content. Now, on that same website, on the home page, which is this, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see Take a Break Relaxation. That takes you to 30 guided meditations that I've done and uploaded. Then there's apps you can use, other apps. And then there's, I put all this stuff on YouTube. That's a link directly to that. So just giving you a bunch of different resources. You might know about our phone meditations. If you don't, we do them Monday through Friday at these different times. And you just call in and listen, 10 minutes, and we're done. So a great way to kind of get into that. The EFR itself can be helpful. So if you want help through the program, this is just a quick reminder about EFR resources. And then this is brand new. This is actually starting. I noticed the announcement on the intranet. There is now health coaching through Thrive, and it's free, confidential, one-on-one health coaching for any of these different topics. You'll see them all over here on the right. You don't need to be on the medical plan. All employees can take advantage of this. And to start the process, you would email them thrivehealthcoaching@ynhh.org. You can meet with one of the health coaches one-on-one. I think most of the sessions are actually on virtual. I'm not sure if it's Zoom or Teams, but so you might want to think about that. All of those things are kind of related, right? Thrive is, this is where you'll find it on the intranet. You go to Departments of Communities, go to T, and you'll find Thrive, which is this honeycomb thing. The EFR and all my stuff is under My Wellbeing. And I think the health coaching is going to be under My Health or My Wellbeing. And with that, I will say thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you coming. And I'll stop the share in a minute, see if you have any last minute questions, and I'll stop the record too. But just want to say thank you so much. Namaste. Hope you found this helpful and peaceful. And if you have any questions, we'll be on for a minute or two. So